going to do is I am going to do a quick little collage here. I'm kind of doing this bird. First thing I want to do is I want to make a fun background for him. So I really like to just grab some pieces, and this is a piece of what's the word I'm looking for, Terry? This is a piece of watercolor paper that I've put some color on, and I'm using this mat here. This is one of the mats for supposedly non-stick, so I'm kind of using it as a surface. Sometimes I use just a plate, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lights and darks kind of in the background. I'm not going to this is going to just be a patterned background. So here I am putting this down. What you've noticed is I've put it on the front and the back. This is, as you can see, this has got a little bit of a print in it, but it's okay. I kind of like a little bit of a print in things. And I'm going to put another one here, and I may layer them a bit and kind of get some different feelings of some layering in the background here too. I've got some really pretty colors here. I want to do a little bit of this color down, I think, in the bottom. So I'm just going to pull some of this up and see what happens if I put a little bit of this down in that area. I'm not trying to make this look exactly like what is in my painting or in the picture there. I am trying to kind of get a interesting background pattern happening in different colors here. So we can place the bird on it. So it's not about it's more about getting a background down, and I'm liable to take the background after I have it down and like dull it down with a color. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I probably will end up putting some white in there for putting some white in there like this. Just this in there so that I can keep the breast of the bird will be fine. And again, I'm just tearing up and placing pieces. This is a background. It's only a background. So a lot of this tissue paper is so thin that I really don't need to do both sides of it. If I don't want to, I can come here and just put a little more in. I want the colors that are going to sing off of the colors that I've got happening up there. I might want to put a little more over in here. Let's get this over in here. And I'm just exploring. Sometimes I do backgrounds where I'm using a lot of paper with writing on it and things, and then I will tint the whole thing, and sometimes I put backgrounds that I will end up using some other hymnals or things with letters in it or words or whatever. But today I'm just making a fairly simple background here where I am just overlaying some colors and allowing this all to become an interesting background. And I've got mostly colors here that I want to use for the bird. Not the wrong colors, but I'm thinking that I also might want something that's going to almost homogenize the whole thing and tone it down a little bit, which is where I'm kind of going with this, I think. I don't know. You know, I do never really know exactly what my plan is. I mean, there are some people, and I have done collages like that, so I can't say I never exactly know what my plan is. There are some people that will spend hours planning out their collage and tearing it out, deciding what they want. And me, I'm not quite that gal. I'm more likely to, okay, let me grab the back. Find sometimes that if I put the color on the back, this is a piece of some kind of tissue paper. If I put this on the back, I'm liable to have a better see-through quality, which is what I'm kind of looking for here too, is a better see-through quality. I'm thinking of another feeling of light coming through. I'm wanting the feeling of leaves, branches, a distance, something in the distance here that is a little mucky but not perfect, and has leaves and shapes, but not absolutely not what I would say is definable. I'm just putting some more pieces in it. Maybe it's a little bit of color. Which time? To 1986 and 2001. Back. Okay, I like the sense of light in there. I still want a little bit more of some kind of lightness up there. So let me maybe bring just a little more. Another layer of this piece in. So I'm layering. I don't want my background to necessarily look like I want lots of different pieces to be part of my background, but I also want a bit of sense of light and a bit of texture and stuff moving from one side to the other. And I know I'm going to have a bird in here somewhere. So I'm also trying to figure out where my plan is to put a bird in there somewhere. Maybe take another little piece here. And I tend to not want to have too many straight lines if I'm looking at I'm trying to make something that's really natural. I tend to not want a whole lot of super straight lines. So I'm liable to do this kind of picking out little pieces and tearing them up and putting them across things and just allowing some randomness to occur in my background to just let it do its own kind of thing. This one looks a little square, but I'm going to go with it up there anyway because I've got other things happening, and I'm just layering and layering and layering until I think I am done, and I don't know what I did there, so I have to fix it. There's a piece, and there's a piece. So I think see what I'm doing is I'm pulling off the pieces that are already on there because this is a little wet and this tissue paper is very much wants to move. Okay, so I'm going to call that a moment, and I'm going to go dry it. Okay, so now I've got my critter on here a bit, and I want to figure out how I want to do the critter. And I think I'm going to start with the white, and it is a very white. So I am thinking that what I want to use for the white, first thing I may end up doing is I may end up painting a little bit of the white because I really don't want any under stuff showing. Okay, so now I'm going to think of the bird. And the first thing that I'm thinking I want to do for the bird is just to use some mulberry paper. And I possibly could just take this and do a little bit of almost tracing here, because I want it to be like an underneath. I really do want it to be really pretty light. So I may want to just tear a piece kind of like that. And sometimes I tear, but one of the problems with this paper is it doesn't tear well. I mean, I can try it. I'll show you what happens. But it does tear very, like there's feathers. So I'm going to tear it a little bit, I think. We're going to tear it, we're going to tear it, we're going to tear it, we're going to bring it up here, we're going to tear it. And I'm going to try to see, it's not going to tear there, but that's okay. I can cut through that piece, and then I can just pull off. And this I'm actually tearing to back here because I'm going to want it to kind of just start kind of becoming. So here, this is going to be my first kind of little piece of paper. And I definitely need to tear off where I was so silly as to put a mark. But that's okay. I can tear that off. I could also probably erase it. There it goes. It's erased. So here, I like that little piece of paper as a beginning. That's just the beginning. So here I'm interviewing different papers that I think are going to work with my painting. I really have to get the back down first before I see how the colors work together. I pulled out this very red because I liked the pattern that was happening. There was a circular pattern happening, and I'm trying that out, but I'm not 100% convinced I want it. That one well, I really realized that this piece of paper had the under feathers in it, so I was going to cut out some under feathers for that. So I put those aside to use for that, and now I'm back to cut a few pieces out. I'll place them down later, and now I'm still trying to interview what I would call the wing colors. Nah, it's just, I tried it, but then I decided. So here I go, I'm trying it, but I really didn't sing to me, I don't think. So now I'm decided if I don't put this down, it's going to keep on moving and drive me crazy. So here I am putting down the piece of paper for my bird, and now I'm still going back and trying to figure out what am I going to start to do with the wings. Is that what I want? I'm not sure. So then I find there I go. Well, that one works. So that would kind of be okay, but it's just not I want it to have more life. Whether or not it's really true colors or not, I want it to have more life. So here I've got this interesting little piece here that maybe could be more life. So what happens if I take this and put it right through here? Oh, I'm kind of liking that. I could make it a little softer by tearing the edges. It's got white around it, so if I tear the edges, it would end up being much softer. I can tear this edge. And so as I tear the edges, it also changes the shape a little bit, and that's fine. So I'm just going to try this one down there as a fill-in. And I can always put little tiny stuff over it, but look at this right there. Right there. I think I like that right there. So I'm going to take this and just lay it there. I can always change my mind too. I mean, this is not about, in any way, it's not about any kind of perfection. It is all about coming up and finding separate little pieces that could really end up singing with the whole process here. Might want to put a little bit of something coming out there. That's fine. I'm going to put that in there. Now I like I like some of this pattern in here. More than anything else, I like the pattern. So I'm wondering if I take this and pattern this through. And there's ways you can cut it, that you can tear it, that will tear it so you don't have white, and there's ways you can tear it that'll tear it so it does have white. So here I want to bring this right down around here. I'm going to make this a little up here, and I'm just, so if you go away from it, you don't have a white edge. Okay, so I'm just going to, I think, put this guy right in, I want this shoulder there. What happens if I tear it like this? I'm going to keep on tearing it down a little like that. And then I put this in as a shoulder and bring this really far in like this. And then I'm going to tear this also. I'm going to end up with putting some feathery stuff on top of it, but right now I'm just bringing that in and making an interesting shape there. Okay, and that's not really exactly the shape I want, and it's a little wet, so it might be a little challenging. But, ooh, so maybe I should have waited for it to dry a little bit there. So here, I'm going to take this more this way. Okay, so one of the things with the papers that are very, very, very non-sized is that they will pull back up fairly easily. So I'm going to throw this in here, right here, because I think that's where I want to put that. And then I'm going to just take a very few of these little tiny pieces here. I'm going to just kind of stick them in here as if they've got a little bit of something happening there. I'm going to stick one in here. I want it to look as if there are some breaks and some whites in here. I'm going to stick one in here. And I may end up sticking some more of it there. I want to bring another lighter color down through here. So I'm going to pull this through here and bring that down. And at this point, I'm not 100% thrilled, but I'm going to keep on at it for just a little more. Okay, see what happens. Put some of this down there. I truly am a more of an intuitive painter than anything, or intuitive whatever than anything else. And I may take just this little piece here. Just going to add another layer of a different color right down in here. Bringing this down a little bit and just giving it a little more. And I can add a little more of fuzz right up in here like this. And so that's going to give me a little more fuzz. And I can add a little more fuzz down here. I'm going to have to make them a little darker and then add fuzz. So here I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring this down a little more this way. Okay. Then I'm going to put fuzz all over it. Fuzzies. I want to get lots of little fuzzies down. So I can put something down and then I can put something over what I have down. So here I'm trying to make these more fuzzy but colored. See how I'm doing that? Isn't that fun? And I may want to even put a little more fuzzy right down. Something down here, just a little bit right here. And then maybe put a little more of the fuzzy. I could also take this and make this a different color if I want it, but right now I'm not there, so I'm just going to put more down there. So what I'm trying to do is get the feeling of the feathers. And the next thing that I want to do is I think I'm going to try to figure out this greenish stuff that I love down there. I really love the greenish, and I had a piece here that I thought would make some really good greens down. See the greens down there, the greens and the orange? And this I have the greens and the orange in. So I'm going to tear a piece of this off with the greens and the orange. And I want to put this down here. So here I've got this little piece, and I'm just going to kind of throw them in, and it's another layer. And then I want to throw another piece of almost darker green and up against here for another layer. And I still have some light there that I want maybe a really light green. Do I have a really light green somewhere? Almost light green blue right over here. Let's take a little piece of that. See what happens if I just throw a little bit of that right in there. I'm painting with paper. That's basically what I'm doing. And in the end, I'm going to end up with some really pretty pieces, I hope. So now I'm going to start looking, I've got to start looking at the blues. I don't really want to go with the face yet. So I'm going to look at the blues, and I'm going to look at what I want for, like, some feathers. And I've got this, I really like this. It's got almost a purpley blue, but I like the gold, or the color, that the gold that's running through it. So I'm going to, or the copper that's running through it, I guess what it is. I'm going to see what happens if I start looking at some of these pieces coming a little bit up into here. I'm going to take this piece. So if I put a little piece in here, I like that, as a beginning, and I don't have to do every single piece that's here. That's the other thing. You know, I don't have to, it's not about getting it all right, it's about getting the mood of the piece. And so as I look at some of these colors, what colors do I really want to go with? This is another really one that could be a very feathery piece, because it's on the, it's already done on the, on this, on the mulberry paper. So I'm going to try to see what happens if I pull a little bit of this out and use this for some under feathers. I mean, there's a, you know, so I may end up with some, what I would call under feathers, like I might want to get one coming out there. And then I might want another one, a very thin one, to come over here and come out over here, like there's something happening there. Oh, it's starting to look good. And then I may want this to have something right there. I want to have fuzz going into there. And I want to have more of, I like both of these colors. What happens if I take something from here? I don't know, I'm thinking that this might be just this, the first one I put on might be too bright or too dark. Might be. But then again, I have this here. So what happens if I try to come up with something here that's got just a little bit of dark and some light in it, and it can be a feather shape to kind of come down through here. See, I just want to put some feather shapes in. And these shapes, they cross over each other in different ways. So like this one might come over like this and cross over. And then there might be another one here that's a slightly different color that may end up coming in here and crossing kind of like this. Let's see if I tear that off. I'm exploring still, and maybe I'll put this right here. I like that right there, and then I'm going to do something else there. And then these long tail feathers have some, he's got a couple of really long tail feathers there that have some interesting like green colors in them. I'm going to do one, I'm going to do this one here and see if I can make this come around. These long, I'm not doing a very good job of cutting them in your face, am I? I'm going to make this a long tail feather. Okay, and it's going to go kind of down there. I thought it had more green in it than it does, I guess. One goes down here, and then one goes more darker down there, and it's got just I'm going to put this in here, and it's going to go darker down here. It's going the wrong direction it was. Let's have this one go. Needs to go that way. And it's going to come in here. I like the tail feathers there. I'm like getting there. And I'm going to end up having to have some stuff come over there. And I need some more of this lovely green in. And I need another tail feather over there. It's one of the darker ones. It's going to come out like this. This one really needs more green on top of it. But I'm liking the colors I'm coming up with, so I think what I'm going to do, well, I may have already, because it was slightly wet, I may be stuck with it, but let's see what happens. So I should have probably done it when it was drier, but I pretty much did it when it was pretty wet already. So, but I'm not unhappy about it. I'm actually really liking the colors that I'm coming up with. And I am going to end up with more of a lighter green. And I think for this, I may end up taking some of, instead of going olivey, I may go more turquoisey in there, because I like the idea of a turquoise a little more than a violet, or than the olive, so I might go just a little more turquoisey in there, like that. No, I won't go a little more turquoisey. See, you gotta watch when you put it down, because it might not always work. Okay. So I still have another one that I want to put down here, which is this one. It comes down longer like this. Okay, I like that. It's got the little green underneath. I like that. This one needs a little more of the green underneath of it. And then I have to look for see what I've got for another piece of that greenish, orangish color that I had before. I just want a small piece, and I want to put that kind of right in there. Right? I want a lighter one too. I want a really super light green, orangey yellow. Also in here, maybe right down here. Yes. To get that all worked together. And then there's another super light greeny line. Green, orangey, whatever line. It kind of goes down into and across here. This is his darkness in here. I'm going to come just a little across like that. There we go. I'm liking that. Now, so getting my color on. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. I'm kind of liking it. I'm feeling as if the patterns are working. I'm wondering if I put just a tiny, see, I like the white that's showing up there. And I've got a little bit of this that has a lot of that white showing. And I really want some silver and white showing, so let me take this piece here. And again, this I'm just kind of faking it. But I want something here that's going to go in here. And go in here. Maybe round it here. And round it here. And then just give me some little pieces of white in. He's got a little hump happening here. I want it more humped. I want it more humped. I have that hump happening. Hump, hump, hump. So he's got that, but he doesn't have this. I need this to come away. I need that to come away. I'm missing my finer. I left my little scissors in the wrong place. And then I want a piece of maybe this right. I need something to go along there that's got some hairy lines in it too, but maybe hairy lines, like, look at that. Does that work a little in there? Let's see what happens. Because I want this to come around and kind of come through there. Liking that. Starting there. I still have this hole there, but that's going to have to go in another lighter color with something in it. Maybe here. That goes there. Could. I still have to do some more feathery stuff. And then I've got the face here where I've got all of this, I don't know what I would call it. It's almost circulars So I think I grabbed that to see if it would work, and I don't think it will. This again, that still doesn't quite work. It could come close, but it doesn't quite. I need browner, or I need neutral, more neutral. It's getting there, it's getting there, it's just not there yet. Okay. Where am I? Got my little beak. Maybe if I put the beak on, I'll feel better. want to go in like that. Like my beak. It needs to be longer. So you gotta watch it when you do this stuff, because it may not move where I want. I do have a tweezers somewhere here. That's what I'm missing, is my tweezers. So if I take my tweezers, it's much easier to put these smaller pieces in. So here I got my tweezers, and I want this more out to here. There I go. Is that a little better? That's a little better. And I may want just a little tiny bit of this right underneath of that. Just a little bit right underneath of that. Just a tiny bit right here. Let's put another tiny bit in there. Right in here, as if it's got some beak. Come on, you can do this. No, you can't do this. Okay, now I got that in there. Then I've got to get his stuff going up and over there. Okay, oops. So I used a little bit of a gel plate to tone a little bit of the rice paper to a different color. Because I want to put his face on here. And I also wanted to get it so that it looks like I've got some feather stuff happening here. So you can see me coming here. I'm going to put it a little farther back like this. And let me put it on. It may not have enough contrast for in the back with the background. I don't know, but I'm going to work on it a little bit. Okay, so here I want to get this coming up into here. And I want to get some of these things falling up here. Okay. Then I've got to get the same kind of thing in the blue in the paper. I thought I did it underneath my piece of paper again. There's some blue. And then I did the same kind of thing in a little tiny bit of blue here, because I want that to go right in here. Okay. There I go, with just a little tiny bit of a blue in there. Okay, and I want that same little tiny bit of a blue over somewhere over on this side, a little bit right in here, kind of to give me a shadow. Okay, and then I am going to go again, and I'm going to work on some white. But one of the things I realized is I probably need to put some white just on this paper. I want to get this really white, so I'm going to stop for a second and go get some white. So sometimes I have to just adapt. So what I'm doing here is I want some feathery looking things to happen, but I also want them. So what I've done is I've grabbed a piece of this paper here, and I'm just going to let this, see, it's pretty wet, it's separated. That's okay, because what I want to do is I just want to put little tiny pieces of this while it's still almost wet in places, so that it appears that I've got little feathers. So here again I have more of this. I'm going to put some feathers over here. Dang, maybe I'm going to have to let it dry a little bit more. I was hoping I could do it while it was still wet, but it appears that I may have to let it dry a little bit more. Let's see. Because I'm really trying to get this to just kind of come in while it's very, very, very wet. To say you got some feathers happening up here. I like the way that these feathers just do their feathery things up here. And I'm trying to get that to kind of work. I just used a yellow on a piece of the white paper, and I'm just putting it in. So I think it's working a bit better than I thought it would. I might just take this side and see if I kind of cut it a little bit, whether it's going to, whether I should have waited for it to dry. Maybe should have waited for it to dry. But I just thought that if I did it while it was still pretty wet, it would be more, in some ways, manageable. But that one I ended up with too much. But I'm liking how this is working. I'm liking these pieces. I'm liking this. I'm going to have to do another piece and come back, and I'll be with you in a second. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually, this is very wet, and I'm trying to tear it while it's wet, because when I tear it while this is the mulberry paper, when I tear it while it's wet, you see that I get much more in the way of the fibers. But then I've discovered that I really have to let it dry. So I'm going to tear this while it's wet, sit it here, let it dry, and then I'll use it in my collage. Okay, the rest of this is going to be, I think, pretty simple. I'm going to throw just a little more of this where I got this, made it very fuzzy layers there. I'm going to throw a little more of that on. I really want it to get these, see where you get the little things falling out, coming out? That's what I want. I want the very fuzzies happening there. And then I am going to work on getting a little, I like this. I need to get his legs on, so his legs can just go into something very dark. So I can just kind of, or his little, I might even not worry about them yet. So the next thing I want to do is I want to get some branches in here. So here I'm going to take this, and this, I'm just cutting this. This is an old piece of it's not a brayer off sheet, it's one of these sheets that I've taken over the years and just keep on cleaning off things, so it's kind of what I call a clean off sheet. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to put this in for a branch here. Okay, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You can watch me. I am just tearing these pieces on, and I'm going to put some branches in, and I just keep on tearing up from this. It's a cleanup sheet, so it has many different colors that are kind of very brown, so I've used it for my branches. And I'm putting it in behind the, the bird has to look like it's sitting on something. So I'm putting my branches in, and then I'm going to look for something, and I'm going to make some leaves. So I will tear out some more pieces of paper and make some leaves out of it, and I'm going to place some leaves on, and I'm just going to paste them down. I'm sure, this is just it's not as detailed at all as the bird. It's an interesting way of, I'm just filling in the space in a way that I really like it. And then I'll get back to my main painting in a moment. Thank you. You know, at some point I can use other markers. I can use Posca pens. I think I'm going to put its feet in with a marker. And I think I'm probably going to put its eye in with a marker. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm pretty much happy with all of this. Maybe want to put another little tiny bit of this right in. Oh, wow. It has to be really thin and have it go kind of up in there. Yeah, I don't like it there, so I'm taking it away. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking all of it. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to put a little bit of something in front of it so you can kind of see it, where it's going to be with the mat. And here I go, and there's my general painting. I'm actually thinking I don't like that square. I got a little square over there. I'm not sure if I really particularly like all of it, but I'm thinking I might either have to adapt that and come down. Wow, I got that pretty big, didn't I? Oh no, liking it right there. So I think I like it, so now I'm going to have to do something with that unfortunately round thing, or not round thing over there. So what would that be? And I still think I'm going to put, I'm still on, right? Okay, I'm still thinking I'm going to put little tiny pieces of this white in there too. So let's go here. Let's go here. And let's just put just a little tiny bit more white coming up here. I just want them to be just a little whiter. Just a little whiter there. Maybe that's not where I want it to be, a little whiter. Really, I wanted it definitely whiter, but maybe that wasn't white enough. I want it, it's really white. The problem with, if you don't tear it when it's wet, what happens is that the acrylic kind of decides that it, see, you can see the difference right there in the white versus the non-white. The acrylic glues together some of the papers. So it's harder to get this edgy stuff happening, which is what I'm looking to get here, is some of the very edgy stuff happening. It's a bit harder to get that working if you don't play with it when you're trying to just tone it like this with, see, it's much whiter. I like the much whiter there. Oops. Like the much whiter there. See, it tones it. It gives it a little more oomph. And I'm going to put a little bit of the much whiter up in other areas. Just tiny slivers of it. Because I do like just a tiny bit of it being more white. There we go. Just using the white as a highlight. Does that make sense? I'm going to put a little tiny bit right up through here. And give it through there. And then I'm going to put a little bit through here, because I want that very white to be up here. No, do I want it to be right there? I guess I do want it to be right there. That's where God wants me to have it. And I want to put a little bit more of the very white in underneath here. Let's get another too much. Too much too. Okay, let's get that off. Let's put a little teeny bit of it on. See, I want just teeny bits. Very teeny bits, and I don't want them to be, organic teeny bits. Organic teeny bits, see? Organic. Organic. In there. It's blue. It's not an organic teeny bit. And still, no matter what I do, it's going to get a little toned with whatever. I'm going to put a little of this down here. This is whiter, but it's lighter. It's going to soften that. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit. I just feel like I should have just one more coming kind of that way. No, do I? No, I'm going to do it with white Posca. Okay, so maybe I am doing it with that because that's where it wants to be. Okay, so I've got the colors down, I've got this working. Now it's going to have to kind of dry a bit, so it's going to be more see-through, and then I will finish off. Oh, I was going to do one more thing I started before I did the white, was I was going to put something in here to disrupt that shape. Let's see what happens if I disrupt the shape with a little bit of this here. See, what happened, I think, was that I ended up with that, there we go, that's a better disruptor of shapes. And let's get another round ear shape of sorts coming over through there. Okay, so now I don't see that white as badly, and we'll see. Okay, now I gotta let it dry so all the colors will show through again. I've got a little bit, like I gotta get these colors down and showing through. Okay, so now I'm doing some detail work. I've gotten it pretty dry. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put in his legs. And his legs come way from back here. Okay, and they come over. Okay, and then they have this. So here's that leg, and I'm going to tone it down a little, like that. I feel like I got a little too, whoa, didn't mean to do that. See, life is full of opportunities to change your mind. So let's see what happens when I pull this up. Now, way too dark. Now I'm going to have to go back in there and fix it. Probably I'm just going to put a little tiny piece of something right over part of it, like this. Yeah, just put a little tiny bit like right over in there, and then that should make it go backwards a little bit. So here I've got this. I'll wait till it dries. I'm just going to put this on. Here we go. Okay. Toned it down totally. And then this one actually comes over to here, but you can see this, and then you got a little something happening there, but not a lot. So I'm going to tone that down just a little bit too with some probably end up taking just a little bit of something and tuning that in a second. Okay, so that Posca pen's too bright for me. I'm not going there again, but I think I am going to use a little bit of gold. Okay, then I'm going to go with this eye here. And his eye is pretty much, okay, so here's this is going to come back, and I'm going to use a gold for this too. I'm just going to put a little bit of gold in there. And get this to come back just a little bit. And then I've got this eye, which is like right, just comes back to here. I've got this, and the eye is right over here. So I'm going to do it in gold first, and then I think I'm going to do it in the black Sharpie. So now I'm going with, I don't use Poscas, I use acrylic painters, but I'm just going to go through here with a little bit of this acrylic painter pen. And I'm just going to give just a few more lines and stuff happening here. I want this to be fuzzier looking in a lot of places. So I'm going to just kind of fuzz it up ever so slightly, every little bit here and a little bit there, and a little bit happening in places. And this, has these lines going around the eyes. So I'm kind of working on that and getting a little bit more of that. Then I'm going to see if I can get this brown one to work. You never know whether they're going to work or not. I'm going to try this brown. I'm going to actually try down here. So I'm going to just put a branch down because I'm seeing how well it's working. It kind of works okay, but I'm going to turn this upside down because I want this eye, I want to do this eye, and I want to do a nice little brown eye in here. Okay, so I've got the eye, and I want to do a second kind of eye around it. And then I want to work with some black. And I could use a Sharpie, which might work better. I also had a dark brown Sharpie that could have also been a possibility. Now it's not fine-tipped enough. See how my fine-tipped Sharpie goes. Okay, so here I want to get more of a circle. So with the eye, it really is definitely a circle. Make sure my Sharpie is working. And I've got a little something that's happening here. And I'm working on getting more of an actual circle and more of a real dark something going there. And I probably should wait till it dries a little bit more, but I'm impatient. I want to get this done get it done is what my problem is. And then I want just a little bit more around here, maybe a little dots here and there. I'd like to get a light blue. We'll see. Let me see if this blue is actually going to work. It's a little darker of a blue than I want, but let me see. Let's see, it's too much. One of the things about the acrylics is sometimes they just are too much. But let me work again a little bit with the acrylic pen here. I'm going to go right through that and go right through this. And I'm going to go again, I'm going to go around my eye here. I may even put a little bit of this inside the eye. And the eye kind of comes out a little bit like that. And I want to put just a few. And I'm going to put just a few little things So it may take a little longer, but I'm going to make some hairs here look as if, I'm going to make sure I have a few running down here, and maybe even a few running down this way. Trying to get this guy so he looks as if he's got stuff going on here. And I really want to put a little more blue in this area, but it's a little hard to do. So I'm going to just do that. And again, I'm going to make sure that I pull most of it out. And I'm going to put a little tiny bit more blue right up. He's got this thing right here. Put a little more blue right in there. And then just bring a little bit of the blue through in places here. Okay, and then again, I'll probably pull it out. So after I pull it out, I'm liable to end up doing just a little more of the, really want the brown, not the blue. More brown under here. Man, there's just nothing fine-tipped enough about any of this stuff. Maybe I want a darker brown instead of a blue up here. I want this to look more like there's how's it looking in there? Like there's stuff happening here where it's just kind of coming out and coming over, and this is coming up, and then there's some downs coming in here, and maybe there's some downs coming in there, and I'm going to have to get that up again. I don't want it too dark. And then I probably am going to put the light back over it as soon as I get it there, and then I'll end up with another line of, I wish they made super ultra fine. I really do. I mean, I want super, super, super ultra fine pieces here. I want to be able to get this feeling of his head happening with a little, just a little tiny bit of, maybe I should have tried it with a darker, but I don't know. I really like that. Do I have an orange? I have all sorts of colors, but orange is not one of them, I guess. Unless there's an, oh, there is an orange. Well, it's kind of a peach. It's never been opened, peach. I'll open it up. So what I want this is I want this on the, so he's got these claws here. So I want to, and he's got a claw here, and it just sits there, and he's got this claw under and over. Just adding a little bit of extra color there. And I think I'm going to call it, let me see, I'm not real happy about his head. I think I got too, like, I don't know what I need to do. It's like too confused. It's not, it didn't get, should be like it's got this stuff coming this way and this stuff coming this way, and not that much white, more of a tan color, and then that's coming that way. I want it toned down just a little bit, but I also want it to look like it's there. I'm liking that better. just the blue is like too blue. And I just want a little bit of stuff there. And this guy just a little bit there. And let's see how that works. And then it's got just a little bit through here. Is this a gold? Might be a gold. Nah, it's not really. And there's something there. Okay, I think I'm going to let that dry and see what happens. I may need to go back with a I feel like I need like a blue Sharpie or something. I feel like it's got everything's good except for the very edge of itself here. Okay, I'm going to take some of that off. Oh, sometimes I just need to let it be for a moment or two. I really want a much better dark somewhere. This eye is presenting a problem. Should be a very buttony eye, but it's not fine enough, not fine enough. Okay, and then this should be a little bit more. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna possibly, I'm close to calling it a day. I still have to get that darker in the eye. And I don't know how to get it darker in the eye except for a smaller, this Posca is just too much. Maybe if I put the Posca here, and I take a really fine brush. Ooh, maybe one of the applicators. Where are the pink applicators? When in doubt, try to figure it out. Okay, everything's looking good except for the very, see, that's not even tiny, that's not even tiny enough. Might be tiny enough to put my black in there. Ooh, that helps. But it's not a small, I mean, I need like a one thing brush. How tiny can I get with this? I need this to go right here, right here, right here, right here. See how tiny I need it? There, that's much better. And then I need this to clean up just a hair here. That to go away. Then I like it better. Whoops. And then I want just a tiny bit of this in here. Oh, not working there. Okay, I think I'm calling it a day. I think if I do much more with it, I'm going to regret what I'm doing. I think that this is my little Charoop or whatever the H it is. There it is. It's done. Thanks.